Welcome back to German Chocolate Life of a Mixed Girl and this special series, Stunt Talk. Today, with me, I have Josh Vinyard. I met Josh in New York City this year when I went to Frank's Fireburn workshop. And I was like, who's this guy that looked like Wolverine? Because his hair
That's funny.
looked like Wolverine.
Yeah. I get that a lot. And I'm like, Hugh Jackman is so much bigger than me.
But I think that might have been my question. Like, have you doubled him?
Oh yeah. I think so. That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Well, one of my friends, Patricia, that I met in Miami during a stunt training, she was like, the coolest thing about classes that you meet all these cool, interesting people. But the actual thing is, you didn't actually come to take the class. You just stopped by that day. So
Oh
let
yeah.
me say a little bit of something about you. So your credits span across like a lot of people in New York, it seems like, but it's pretty cool. The Walking Dead universe. That's really cool. You did NCIS. You were the stunt double for Daniel Radcliffe, which I can see that. I can totally see
Absolutely.
that. Right? All
Yeah.
the like, hype.
Dead ringer of a double.
Yeah, I need to watch it. Now I need to see all the stuff you got to do.
Yeah.
And my all-time favorite, when you had told me this, I was in shock because unfortunately the series was canceled and I couldn't wait for the new season to come out. But you actually doubled the main guy, so Tom Payne, in one of my favorite shows, 23 episodes, Prodigal Son. Welcome to
Yes.
Stunt Talk, Josh Wynyard.
Thank you very much. I feel welcomed. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me and hearing whatever stories I may have to share.
Yeah, and usually I like to start by saying or asking, what is your origin story? Just because it sounds cool, but origin story means how, why, and when stunts. Like, what happened?
Yeah, they're great questions. Thanks for asking. I enjoy sharing my origin story. So let me begin. I started stunts doing non-union work when I was 18, just to explore the field a little bit, And that was like show up, get $50 a day, do something really reckless and stupid and not well thought out. I did that for a few years. I guess you could say that that's where I cut my teeth. But before that, I was a very competitive and professional breakdancer. So
Hmm.
I went on America's Got Talent in 2012 as a solo performer. I made it up to the quarterfinals.
What?
That
Wait,
was
what? 2000 what?
2012.
Okay, we're gonna have to look this up. All right, keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah. Howard Stern. And, anyways, that was all of its own experience. But I did have like 5 minutes of fame where people all over the world knew my name and they're like reaching out over the internet. And like very quickly, I was like, I don't like being famous. This is awful. Um,
I can see that. Oh God.
Yeah, and then like I ran with that momentum of America's Got Talent, and I was like, great, let's do this professionally now. And I'm doing shows and stuff like that, and I'm technically making a living. But yeah, it's when I learned your career should not always be your love or your passion.
Mm.
Yeah, so I loved dancing. I hated doing it professionally, and I decided let me go to LA for a few weeks and explore the community out there for both dancing and for stunts. Let me see if I can hit it harder out there. So I went out there for a few weeks, met people, did some trainings, yada, yada, yada. But the thing that stuck out the most is on one of my last days in LA, I got a old school stunt dude, no longer with us, named Conrad Palmisano, and he agreed to sit down with me for lunch and to talk some shit over. And Conrad, it's legend in the stunt world, Rush Hour, and just all sorts of crazy stuff. You got to look up his resume. Um,
I will.
so what's that?
I will.
Yeah. So like, and I want to like play up the drama on this a little bit. Um, when I was in LA, I was flat out of money by the end of my trip. Like, I got on a bus to go meet this guy. I didn't have the fucking bus fare. The dude's trying to kick me off. And I'm like, dude, I can't get off the bus. I'm sorry. Until like some nice stranger just came and like gave me a couple of dollars. And I was like, oh, thank you. Oh my God. And then on the bus ride while over there, the girlfriend that I'd been with for like 2 or 3 years broke up with me.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, damn. Okay, well, I'm going to shove that feeling down. I'm going to focus on meeting this guy. And I go
Mm-hmm.
there, and I sit down with this dude, and I'm trying like my best to be friendly and like forward and talk to him. And he's just like, "Where's your stunt reel?" I was like, I don't have a stunt reel. You know, it's 2012, like, or whatever, 2013, whatever year it was, where like it just wasn't as easy and accessible to make a stunt reel.
I can see
Um,
that. Yeah, phones weren't that great yet.
yeah, everything's clunky. And, anyways, so like the dude proceeds to spend the next 20, 30 minutes eating his breakfast or lunch or whatever, tearing into my ass. Like, I mean, like, the dude was like, "You're not cut out for this business. You're not going to go anywhere. We're not about to go to the parking lot so you can fucking throw backflips or something. You may as well give up now and go get your real estate license." Just
Not
all
what I
this.
expected. No.
No, no, not at all. I'm like, I come with very like specific, like high set specific skills that this dude's just like, "You're wasting my time. Get that shit out of here." Um, so like we finish our meal and I leave, and now I got to go like figure out how to get bus fare to go back to the fucking place I'm staying. But I was just like totally torn up and devastated. Like, just I felt awful. I can't tell you how bad I felt.
So that typical interview question, you were at your lowest, but then
Then I came back to Austin, and I was like, the only thing I've learned after spending 3 weeks in LA, and every last dime that I had, was you have to have a reel, something to show for yourself, otherwise nobody will take you serious. And that was like a painful, costly lesson to have. But I was like, you know what? Fuck that old motherfucker. I'm gonna go get my footage. I'm gonna cut a stunt reel, and I'm gonna do it. So now I'm going to all these producers' doors. I'm like knocking on them, from like the non-union projects. And like I have an external hard drive, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm here. I want my footage right now. I need it."
yep.
Like, so I get all my shit. I cut it all together, and I go the next day after I cut it. I am doing a show for Formula One in Austin for the Red Bull Paddock Club doing breakdancing.
Ooh.
So I'm up there doing my thing, and like this older English gentleman kind of pulls me aside after I do my show, and he's like, "Hey, that was really good, really impressive." And I was like, "Yeah, thank you very much." He's like, "You'd be a really good stuntman. You ever think about that?" And I was like,
What?
"Yeah." He's cool. Like he gives me this really vague card. It doesn't have a name or anything on it. It says like "I stunt" in like a generic "I stunt" email. He's like, "Yeah, go ahead and like reach out to me and contact me." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." Uh, well, I have a stunt reel. Do you want to see it? He was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And so like he watches my stunt reel. It's 2.5 minutes long. It's really bad, but I have one. And he watches that all politely. And after he finishes, he goes, "Let me have that card back." Takes it.
No, he didn't.
He writes down his name, his personal number, and his personal email. And he goes, "Here you go." And I was like, "Well, thanks, but like, who are you?" He just goes, "Well, I'm Andy Armstrong. I'm the stunt coordinator for the Amazing Spider-Man. We're in prep for the next movie right now. Stay in touch. Come to New York. I'll put you to work." And I was just like, so this is less than 24 hours after I cut my reel. And it was the defining difference between having a generic card where you probably would have forgotten about me to, "Oh, you've proven to me you were working at this. Let me give you something." And it was a gift. It
And
was a
that
huge
is
gift.
typically how the freaking universe will work. And this is how we're in our 30s. And looking back, that's why reflecting is so important to me, is you always be like, "Oh man, this shitty thing and this didn't happen and I did this and that was hard." But then you're like, "Oh, that one day, that one person or thing that happened then connected." And you're like, "Oh, that's why." So every time somebody doesn't get back to me or something doesn't work out, I know I'm like, all right, that wasn't the thing. So I needed to either be really, really down right now so that it motivates me to do something else, or take another direction for the next thing to happen. But sometimes it takes longer than
Mm-hmm.
24 hours
Yeah.
and you don't see you don't see it happening. And then 5 years later, you're like, "Oh man, I had to lose my house in order to go to this place to then meet that
Yeah.
person."
Yeah. Well, but also, like, I feel like if nothing else, what that lesson had taught me was that people talk about right place at the right time.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that is a fraction of it. We have to be ready at
yeah.
the right place at the right time because those moments are probably happening all around us and it's going over our head, you know? Um, it's tough.
It's so tough. It's so tough. A lot of times it'll be the opposite. I'm like, oh, I think this was like a really great connection. And I'm like, yeah, but probably didn't have whatever it needed at the time yet or not. But I just always call it
Yeah.
as planting seeds. I have a garden full of seeds that are being watered.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Why aren't they growing?
Yeah, I think I just need some extra soil. So I'm
Yeah.
working on my gardening skills, and some of them, others have grown a little bit, and some of them I just, they're more exotic.
Uh, yeah, right.
So what happened after that? So you reached out, and then what happened?
I reached out to him once a month for the next 6 months until they actually went to production for Spider-Man, and he was like, "All right, Josh, I have dates for you coming out," and he gave me 5 weeks on the movie.
That is freaking amazing. But what caught my attention was that you said you reached out once a month. Was this like a follow up by you to just see it? But did he respond to the ones before and always was like, check back in with me?
Yeah, every time I would send him the message once a month, he would say, "Josh, good to hear from you. I have nothing for you yet. Check back in a month." And every time he would confirm, "Check back in a month. Check back in a month," until he
Nice.
finally did. So like it definitely was not me pestering him, but him verbally okaying and encouraging me to keep following up with him.
That's why I asked, because I did get the sense that that's what it was. And a lot of times, there's this fine line. You've reached out, a stunt coordinator gets back, and then you're like, am I still on top of the mind? Is this thing still going? Oh, I probably shouldn't reach out. But it's like, it depends on the person. So as I had just learned about pre-COVID, when hustling a set was like super normal to do, and people are
Yeah.
going up, at least you're kind of getting like contact face to face with people. And I was like, when I was just in LA, I had landed and my whole day was supposed to be different than it ended up being. So I contacted someone. I was like, hey, you're like my most spontaneous friend. You want to go out for lunch? She's like, no, we're about to hustle the set. You want to come? And I was like, oh, snap.
Mm,
And I was
mm,
like, I've only ever heard of this. I had never done it. So I was like, I am down. Send me the address. We don't have the exact location yet. Here's a pin. Drive
yeah,
here. We'll find this.
yeah. How's that hustling experience for you?
It was my first time. And I think the reason it wasn't as like how I expected, like awkward and just kind of being there, was that the person knew that stunt coordinator and he actually set it up as kind of like a joke. He wanted actually a whole bunch of people to show up at that set so that we could all just like with a physical headshot be like, yo, here's our headshot. So, but I still got to know the guy, and he's also going to be on the podcast.
Oh,
So
sick.
after,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I was like, oh man, you were like so cool. And he has like so many projects coming up. I was like, I need to hear more from your point of view for other people. So he's a really cool guy. And I was like, we need to talk on the podcast. He's like, yeah, I'd love to. I was like, I swear nobody's ever said no since I asked. Wait, there's one person who has not gotten back, and I've now reached out twice. So this is the only person ever, but I had never met this person in person before. So I feel like that's probably the common denominator.
Well, I don't know. I'm caught in between who doesn't want to talk about themselves and who wants to talk about themselves. It's so scary.
It's super scary, but I feel like in this community, we're all like, we're kind of doing this because we're like want to be cool, and you kind of want to be seen, but like what you said, you didn't want to be famous. And that's what I like about stunts. And then the thing that I actually first got into is voice acting. I want to do the thing, and if somebody does the research and wants to know who did it, cool, and then it was me. But I don't need to be like the face of something that makes me uncomfortable.
No, that's an entirely different job where I'm like, let me be part of the artistic process. Let me help tell the story. Let me be a performer. Let me be a figure in the film. Let me contribute, but I don't need the credit. I don't need a following. I don't need to encourage or motivate people to follow me in my work because that is an entirely different lane that, like I said, just kind of makes me uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable too. So even though, yes, I do this podcast and I post, but honestly, it's most of it, especially the podcast. People have said, hey, like you stopped doing the podcast like last year. And I just was really busy training and I really didn't have any extra time between also my home life and everything else. And I still have a full on day job and everything. But I was like, wow, people are actually interested, or people ask the same questions that I ask other people. And I was like, you know what? I need to bring it back, and then I'll like to stay relevant. And a lot of people just like seeing the journey, but it's really difficult for me a lot of times to decide what I want to share, because I don't want to look like, oh, look at me, because that's not my life. My life is hustling every freaking day. So if I
Yeah.
post something nice, that doesn't reflect at all what my regular life looks like. So it's
Yeah.
difficult when you post, like, what do you post to stay relevant?
And also, like, our lives are so much less glamorous than
Yeah.
they appear, you know. And like, you can play it up, you can doll it up on social media or whatever. But like, at the heart of it, once the novelty wears off, you're just going through gritty, dirty shit that comes with the job. I don't know.
I mean,
I
it
don't know.
really is. So we had, before we started recording, gotten into an interesting conversation because there is so much to it. Like, you want to do the work, you want to be relevant. So as you're like, things are slow, or you're not getting stuff or as much, or you maybe had a time where there's a whole bunch and now there's like nothing, you get this super low, you feel like, oh man, I might not be good enough, I'm not relevant, people are not thinking of me. And you see other people on social media, oh my God, they're on a job again. They get stuff, and
Yeah.
you just get down a lot. But then you get the time where just everything comes at once, and then you're just like, now you're juggling everything. So these ups and downs. So you naturally, I hadn't touched on this, but you live in Austin, or you're from Austin, so Texas, but you're also 50-50 New York. So you're
Yeah.
Texas and New York stunt performer. So you already have that back and forth.
Yeah.
But so if we talk about this year in particular, maybe even, and then maybe the year right before COVID started, how would you describe, where the industry was, where you were, and how your life kind of fluctuates with that, like personal, professionally?
Both professionally and personally.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when you say it's glamorous, like it's so cool, you're like on the job, which can also be scary. I don't know if you know the stunt coordinator or don't know them, the type of job. Have you done it before? It can be some of that. Then I need to travel this day to the next day to this one, or and then how your personal, your friends, your family, how all of that works together. I think a lot of people don't know what that's like, the price you pay of doing the
Yeah.
thing that you like doing.
Right. Well, so I like kind of split my time between two residencies. I largely did it just because I'm a restless person and like I don't like to stay still. And speaking like profession wise, business wise, it's conducive because to be able to cater to two different markets because Texas doesn't have anything going on, but New York has this stuff going on, or vice versa. One market's slow, the other one's usually picking up or busier or something like that. But that's a huge double-edged sword because the jobs that really come in are the people who know you on a personable level and know that they can call you and be like, hey dude, are you in town? I need some, like, this guy fell through. I need someone to come over tomorrow. Can you make it? Can you help me out? Or I need one more rigger hand. Whatever. How reliable are you as a tool? And if they don't know where you are, or they know that you have to travel in, they don't want to worry about you. They don't, the job goes away. They don't want to feel bad that you traveled out for no reason. So, like,
Yeah.
it helps keep you available, but it's also extremely limiting on the professional relationships that you can develop if you bounce around.
Interesting. Even though you really have both these locations, you can really be there, not just like, hey, I have an address. Like that would be me, like, hey, I have an address here, here, and here. I can like be there. But even though for a stretch of time you might be here or there, just for people not knowing whether or not you're there, even to know you personally, can be tricky.
Correct. Yeah. And like whatever, this is still a business built on relationships. So, and like how are relationships really built and nourished? Like through consistent contact, seeing each other around. I see you at a training, I see you at this job. Like, if you're not there for to build the sense of community, then you're not really part of the community. You're a tool that can be used if they're really in a pinch or they really need this double or something. If they really need you, maybe they'll think of you then, but you're not everyday use or a thought to them. And you can't take it personal. You're not around. They're not wrong, you know?
Yeah. Out of sight, out
Um,
of mind.
yeah, 100%, right? So like it's helpful, but it's a double-edged sword. And then personally speaking, that applies the same way. Like, how do you spend time with family? How do you nourish and build a relationship? How do you build your sense of community when you're always somewhere else and you're leaving at the fucking drop of a hat with 2 or 3 days notice? You know, like when I leave somewhere and I come back 2 months later and somebody's like, "Oh man, you're still here? I thought you moved away." Like that makes me feel bad. Like I'm like, shit, man. Like, and it's that way no matter where I go. Wherever I go, there I am. But that other person who's been there looks at me and it's just like, oh fuck, I forgot you exist. You know, so like I'm constantly in the state of arrival, and people forgetting about me, and it's hard. It's lonely in of itself. You
I
know what I
can see
mean?
that because even though you go somewhere, maybe one or two people you know are kind of there, but then you're just doing the work, which would be from dusk to dawn, dawn to dusk, and you don't really have much time, spending time with those people either. But it's interesting that you're saying like these are jobs where you're gone for a long time. Would you say those are mainly the ones you get one and you'll be gone for a stretch of a time, or do you get a lot of the ones you hop in and out of locations for like a day or two, or is it kind of mixed?
It's a mixed bag. I feel like in New York, mostly it's like scattered days here and there. And it's like you can collect these days if they're offered to you, but you have to be willing to sit in New York. And if you're sitting in New York and not building your personal life, you're going to suffer. Um, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
No, you did answer it because
Okay, great.
well, if you're trying to build your personal life, it's both of it can be difficult. Like one, you like you said, you leave and then you're gone for 2 months and then you come back. But one also, like you're here and then you're gone for 2 days, you like a couple of travel days, you're back, but then you're only here for a couple more days, then you're gone for a day or two again. Then I feel
Yeah.
like that's just as tricky, probably.
It is, and you come back and you're only here for 2 or 3 days. Are you going to go out and like spend all this time with these people and see these people in your communities? You're like, no, I'm tired. I gotta let me stay at the house. I have to do laundry. I have to do chores. I have to like do basic living stuff and like reground my nervous system, and then I have to go leave for the next fucking job. So like, yeah,
Regrounding the nervous system is a really good point because that's how I experience it. Like I cannot find a good balance a lot of times because I need to be busy, but I don't just like being busy. I want to do the things that, I need to or want to do. But then when there's a lot of it, I use so much, especially if there's a lot of people involved, then you just get so overstimulated too. And you just need to come home and you just need to, like you said, you just decompress, kind of just be there
yeah,
and get all your stuff done and then
yeah.
kind of hit a reset button. But people might not give you that space. For example, in my life, I have a 13-year-old son. So the good thing with that is he's like, hey, mom, playing my video games. I didn't realize you were gone. Sometimes, yeah, but it's gone longer. Yeah, he gets really excited. We love doing a lot of stuff, but it's not too bad now that he's at that age. And I'm lucky that I have a partner who's also hustling. He's doing his thing, his day job, and like going to
Mm,
open mics for comedy all the time. So when I'm gone and he is at home, he's like, guess it's a good opportunity to clean the house. But
yeah.
like when I come back, I don't like get bombarded or like it just was. I was in LA at St. Augustine in Orlando. This is my first weekend in 3 weeks where I'm just kind of at home and I just needed like a complete day. Just everybody needs to just leave me alone. And but everyone's understanding of that. And it's not normal necessarily. So
Yeah.
you go through life, finding the right people if it's your friends, and which family members might be more understanding than others, and
Yeah.
then also finding a partner who understands what you do, why you do it, and that you have sometimes lots of downtime, sometimes you're not there at all, and your moods can change a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And like, like you said, you need a day to, I don't even want to say decompress. Again, it's just like stabilize yourself. And like, particularly to a partner, if they haven't seen you in a couple weeks, they want to fucking see you.
Yeah.
And of course, like they've been missing you, and it's like it's hard to explain to this other person. We're like, I've missed you like crazy too, and I so badly want to see you, but I'm not at my best right now, and like I need a day to restabilize myself because if I come over and you want to talk about something serious or anything that really involves me to be fully present, I can't deliver that. Not that day, but they
Yeah.
will misconstrue that distant as distance, and like it's hard not for them to take it personal. They've been sitting there for weeks waiting for you, and you're asking for another day. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like you said, you do understand it as a person too, and that person doesn't understand it. You also miss them. Like you went to bed in this other town, and you're like, oh, you're not here. You're waking up, and you're not there, and you like love talking, but then you get home, and you do miss them, but you want to fully be present. But I like know what it would feel like if the person comes home and you're like, oh, you don't want to see me, but being on the other side, I can still have those feelings, but and they're still valid, but I understand it. So understanding it really helps. So I wonder, have you dated somebody that was kind of in a similar field as you were before? Well, not just stunts, it could be dancing or acting or
Yeah.
anything where you felt like you were met with understanding, because I can see it can still be tricky, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
I did date somebody who was more involved in the dancing scene, and like toured around a lot and did dance performances and shit like that. And that was her pursuing her dreams. So like she did a lot of what I did, which would just be gone for 2, 3 weeks at a time. She'd go to other cities and performs and stuff like that. And like it worked on paper and it worked for a while until I was like, wait a second, is this what the other person experiences?
Oh,
This
see.
sucks. Yeah, like it sucks, dude. And like the previous relationship I had, it didn't work out because I was gone too much traveling and working. And like she was a very grounded person. And it was super nice for me to be able to come back to this grounded person, this place, and very nice, very comforting. But she couldn't hang with the distance of me being away, and I was just like, yeah, I
I
get
think the
it.
main thing is also where are you in your relationship? So yeah, if you just kind of started dating and then you're gone a lot, I think it can be met differently then, which is why for me it was so important that I was with somebody before I started all of this, which was like literally my dream to the universe. It's like I want to be with somebody who knows me before I do all this, so then they can see where I am and then also realize it. So going through all the stages meets with more understanding. Plus, you're more chill when you're not in this like love bug kind of like, I need to see you all the time and hug you and be with you. Because that's at the beginning so much more. So
Yeah.
feeling like, yeah, but you got really busy at that time. But would you had more time and then like a year later it would have gotten busy, probably wouldn't have felt that much. So the timing again with those things, so now you know what you appreciate in a partner, but that
Yeah.
just wasn't that one. So I had literally made a list
Yeah.
of all of the things that I needed, not what I just want or like. Because sometimes we want something in a partner, but that's not really what we need. Like the people that are super passionate and they're just arguing all the time. Well, that's not helpful. But
Yeah.
so
Right. Right.
passion can equal a lot of back and forth. I don't need that. I like grounded. I like
Mm-hmm.
grounded.
You need more structure.
Yeah,
That's
because I'm all over the place, even though I'm structured in the things I do, but the way my interests, like we're all on some level, our attention and our risk taking and what we like to do and the passion about this stuff. It's you need somebody who's just kind of there, who like listens, who's grounded, who also smacks you in the face, is like, no, and like not literally, but sometimes you have an idea and that person is honest and it's like, you should sleep on it.
Yeah, true. Dude, it's so tough to have that person who can give you that honest feedback because I was definitely an isolated incident where like this prior person would not voice the things that made her feel bad. So it's like the traveling all really stacked up until she just kind of imploded, and then I was like, where did this come from? But like it's super tough to like voice those needs, especially for somebody with a very non-linear lifestyle like ours, and like it's just all very new to them. um I don't know, it's tough, dude.
It is. And that's why I feel like it's so important to talk about it. So, yeah, you do all this cool stuff. And not only in this career field can you also get injured and be out of the job. So, that's super scary. Like when you do work and then making new connections, proving that you can do this skill. There's so much to the cool stuff that you do. But then you have all of this personal stuff,
Yeah,
trying to build a life. If you want to have a family, if you want to get married, if you want to do all these things, it's
yeah.
sometimes you do have to choose at least for a period of time, and that can make it tricky if you don't know what your priorities are.
Fuck, preach. Yeah, that's the big facts. But then like that gets super complicated because this career is much more than a career. It's a lifestyle. It's an identity infused thing. And it's like, at what point do you renegotiate your identity? Um, and that's a very existential feeling. And like, maybe it's easier for some people. I don't know. I've always found it to be an incredibly charged thing to just reconsider rebuilding your identity, even if just for a brief period of time.
Well, I can tell you, interestingly, the way my life was not as, even though you said the lifestyle isn't linear, but if you think about it, you were a young man, you were 18, you were dancing, you were really good at this. And then that means you're already really good at movement. You're really good understanding choreo, so you can pick things up. So that was really good to bring into this field. And then you kind of stayed in this entertainment field. So that kind of became your identity. And you're like, somebody's like, so what do you do? And you're like, glad you asked. I do stunts. Like it doesn't get cooler than that. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But like mine was literally, it was all over the place because I'm like an opportunist. So I've like been able to do a lot of different things. But I did reach that point where I was like, this for the first time is something I don't want to weave off from the path. Like this, I want to stick with it. I want to do it. And yeah, if other things that are similar come around, I'll take an opportunity. But I sometimes feel like something knocking, like, this could be really stable. You can just like stop doing it. I was like, nope, there is no stop doing it. It became when I tried to say, like when I was in the military, you're a soldier. And that feeling of being a
Yeah.
soldier is just nothing really compared. So all the other things I did after that, even if there were cool moments or things I did, wasn't like that. And then to be able to do stunts, and when you're on set and then they're like, they think you're maybe like a background person because you wear like whatever they wear, but then they like somebody calls you and then they realize you're stunts and all of a sudden everybody looks at you different and you're like, oh my God, I feel so cool. I feel so cool.
I'm always just like, what are we looking at, guys? Like, nothing to see here.
And I was like, I don't know how you feel until I have not been on a lot of sets at all. So these are like just a couple of 2, 3 like areas for me that I've been on. But I've also been on one where there were stunts and they're all like secluded. And when you talk to other people, they're like, yeah, because people talk to us all the time, and then background people. So
Yeah.
they're kind of cool, but they can come off as like arrogant. So I knew when I saw that on like a bigger set, like I don't want to like be an asshole. Like not that they were assholes, but like it can come across kind of cold. So like other people said, I'm like trying to be like, oh yeah, you like really cool, and like talk to people because I don't want nobody to be like, and this is probably because I always care what people think about me.
Mm.
I was like, I don't want to be an asshole. Like, yeah, I'm stunts. You're nothings.
Well, and like the person who actually does have that mentality, like, can you imagine projecting that on such a small, controlled thing of your life? Like, once you guys leave set, you're not any better than that person. You're on equal footing ground. And, like, guess what? That person's actually a fucking doctor or something. You just want to see what being a background performer was like.
Yeah.
You know, like, everyone, yeah, everyone needs to have a mutual and equal respect for them, but I also strongly identify with the other side where I'm like, I don't want to talk to people because this is me doing my full-time job. And for you, this is probably a novelty experience. This brings up a lot of the same questions that other people ask, and it doesn't. Mm,
I know what you're trying to say. That's why I'm trying to find a sweet spot, because a similar experience I feel like was when I started jujitsu. I was like, a lot of people don't want to roll with you when you're a white belt. And I was like, why is that? And it's like, you feel like nobody wants to do anything. But now, like, I've been doing it for a little while. And then when somebody new comes in, I know exactly now why. I was like, oh, they're just
yeah,
going to be throwing elbows and you get hurt and all kinds of
yeah,
stuff. But you still want to be nice. So you can decide. You can still decide
right,
to be like, I recognize I don't want to talk to people. I got to
yeah.
get my boundaries, but I also don't have to like not purposely not look at you.
Yeah, I think the white belt's really a great comparison. And shout out to you for doing jujitsu. I did judo and jujitsu for like 5 years. That's a tough activity.
Yeah, if you
Uh,
5 years, like when you hear people that do it like all their life, 10, 20 years, you're like, wow, that sounds so cool. But when you're in it, you do it for a year, you do something for two, like I do Kung Fu for a little over 2 years. And it feels like forever for me, forever, because you're consistently doing it consistently, but that's like nothing, you know? And
right,
like
right.
it's nothing.
Yeah, it's incremental, just a little bit at a time. And you're just like, why am I always so bad at this?
Literally, I was like, I just want to reach that point where I feel like, like I'm like awesome at this, but at the same time, like feeling to have grace if you do something consistently for a few years, it is a lot, but you're not an expert, you're not super great
Uh,
yet because you're still learning a lot of the basics, a lot of the foundations, no matter how many days a week you put into it. So I'm always like,
100%.
kudos. 10, 20 years, but 5 years is a lot then. So you say you did it for five. So for some people, we'll be like, oh, 5 years, but that's a lot. So heads off for doing it 5 years.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of like 4 days a week type of training, both of the sports. And yeah. But dude, to go back to like the background person with the white belt analogy, the,
Yes.
the thing with the white belt, you're like, I don't want to, they're going to squirm. They're going to throw an elbow. Like they can't chill the fuck out. They're going to accidentally hurt me. I feel the same way with like background people where I'm like, you are going to directly interfere with my job and make me look bad because you don't have the awareness that being on a set takes with that experience to know when to talk and when to shut the fuck up. And you won't stop talking. I may not even be looking at you and you're doing this. And when they look around and they go, who's talking? And they see you talking to me, they associate us. Now I'm in trouble with you. So like that's why I'm like I have to put up a bitch wall, or I have to be like, hey man, it's nice meeting you. I can't talk. I'm on the job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like,
See, so you're trying to do the middle, but I do get it. So it's one of those. Sometimes you just gotta be on both sides, which with a lot of stuff. So you like we know like dancing, you did that before, but it also says on your Instagram filmmaking. I find that's like another one of those things, and I feel like every time I do talk to people that've been in stunts for a while that do also some directing or things, when you're on one side of the lens, like you have a creative process, you know what you want it to look like, but you try to get the people to do the thing that you want to have on there because you see it up here. So that's
yeah,
again two sides. So when being on two sides of it, behind the camera, in front of the camera, being in the stunt team, there's the background people. You're just constantly navigating. So being in different parts, like you said, maybe one day you go in for rigging or maybe you go in for safety, just having all these different parts just makes you kind of a more rounded person for the job. I guess that was not a question, just like a comment. It's like a comment. But speaking of work, I need to know more about you doubling the main person in Prodigal Son. And I will show, because you have it on your Instagram, a really cool stunt that you got to do where you jumped out of a building that was exploding and onto the roof of a car. Just that car looked just smashed.
yeah.
Like, Tell me about that. Like when you see it, the way you land on it, was it already like pre-broken or was it a really light roof or did you really like eat that?
Yeah, so that gag was super fun to do because, like, who doesn't want to jump out of an exploding building and land in a car? Um, but for that car specifically, so they took off the metal frame of the top, so it was just the skin of the vehicle, right? And then they took out of a lot of the hard shit inside the interior of the car, maybe covered up with foam or just removed it entirely, so that when I fell on it, it just kind of collapsed inwards and like it kind of helped make a catch rig, if you will. Um, but also, thankfully, in the story, Tom, the actor, is wearing like a bomb vest because he's whatever. It's part of the story. He has this whole fucking bomb vest, and they took out whatever these pockets were. They stuffed it with foam. So I just was like a fucking marshmallow who got to land in the vehicle ultimately, and I was just like, this is great, guys. This is. Can we do it again? No.
Was that
Okay.
then a wonder? Because with all the explosion in the car, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. We did that only one time. And like the special effects guys were super great because they're on the button for things and like they all executed the timing perfectly. And I guess I forgot to mention when I went into the car, they also squibbed the windows so that when it collapsed inwards, they all. And like the timing on all of that is so tough. So yeah, they
the heart rate on that one. Going
yeah.
through at the right time, fall. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like super nerve wracking because like the window I went out of wasn't sugar glass. It was tempered glass with the guy on the button. And you know how it is. You're like, I'm gonna run, and hopefully by the time I'm exiting this window, it will be gone. Because if not, I'm gonna bounce off of it, and like there's going to be a fireball behind me, and like it's a nerve wracking thing.
And then you only get one chance. That's why that's so scary. Like the one like big that stunt job that I got to do was like that too. There was the special effects people, they're gonna blow up a car and we just had one shot to get, blown
Yeah,
up. And I was like, oh my. But you had
yeah.
all these moving parts between the window, jumping out, landing on the car. So how far in was that already working on that project? I hope it wasn't like your first day working.
On the how long had I been in the show?
Yeah.
I think that was closer to the end of season one. So
Oh,
like I don't know,
nice.
I probably already did like 7, 8 episodes with them or something. Where I did smaller things, but enough where the coordinator felt really comfortable with me and my physical ability. Um, I think it was actually kind of funny after we did the window gag because the writers of the show came up after and they were like, we didn't know Tom Stunt Double was such a capable person. Like, we want to start writing more action now that we know that
Oh,
this. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, awesome. Uh,
that is the best compliment you can ever get. That so did you then
yeah.
notice for like the next episodes or the next season that they did end up putting in some more, or did it maybe they planned for it but they had to end up scrapping it for budget reasons?
I think they escalated a little bit more, but I think honestly they chose to stay more truthful to the character and not to just go into a needless action direction, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Which, fine, whatever. I get it, but I don't want to agree with it.
I feel like it was more mellow. It's now been a while since I watched both. And I did feel there was a lot more happening at first than later. Later was more like a lot of mind kind of stuff happening, I feel like, for the next season.
Well, that's when we got into COVID and like
Uh,
all the challenges were different, and now we're trying to minimize locations and actors and people we bring in, and like the stunts took a big gut of their budget because whatever COVID time, So like,
yeah.
yeah, I think they wanted to get a little bit crazier, and they're like, never mind, let's go character.
I wonder if that was the reason they ended up having to cancel it then. They should have kept the action in. I was literally so disappointed because they could have went on for quite a while for sure. That show had so much
Oh
potential.
God. I mean, and I honestly do not know why they canceled that show, but that really surprised and upset a lot of us because we were number two on Fox at the time. We were the number two show, and we're like halfway through the second season, and we're like, This is going great. Like, God, who knows how long we're going to be doing this? And then they fucking axed us. And we didn't even find out through the chain of command. We found out
Oh.
on deadline. You know what I mean? And we're
I
like,
hear that a lot. And I
what?
was like, oh my God, not even a heads up. You're just like somebody posting it and you're like, what? I'm going
Yeah.
to be out of a job.
Yeah. And then like a week before that, I was doing the car hit. And I was like, I'm about to do a car hit for a show I'm not going to make any residuals on. This sucks. Like, yeah,
Oh.
I know.
But does that show? I mean, I don't know. Does it still play on cable? Do you still get residual checks, or is it like streamer and not really?
I don't like, I will, I don't remember how many episodes I did, like 20, 24 or something.
Yeah, so yeah.
And like when I get my residuals on all that now, it comes in as a lump sum of all the episodes together. And it's like, here you go. Here's your $250. And I'm just like, for like 20 something episodes. Oh my God, this isn't really. So, yeah, no, they
And when
don't.
you see people opening up their residual checks like on TikTok or whatever, I feel like they're like, at least you're getting 250. I get 23 cents. The postage was more than like 23 cents.
Oh, man. It- I might be transitioning the topic too early, but like, I think COVID was no, not COVID. Our industry shut down with the strikes, followed by COVID.
Yeah, COVID, double strikes. Yeah.
Yeah, we essentially had 2 long years of most people not working and just hanging out or taking a part-time job or whatever the fuck else. But like, I'm pretty sure I know that I did. I know a lot of other people in my circle as well. We all notice our residual income turning into a trickle, and
Mm.
we're like, oh, our like we need to replenish our residual pool because we have milked it dry and it's empty, and now it's really concerning. I don't know where I was going with that, but
I think it had to do with the work because you're getting a residual check, but then there was COVID and then the double strike, and with work and relying on not having to get maybe another job, maybe if I was following.
yeah, I forget. I thought I knew where I was going with it and was going to tie it in all together somehow, and I just didn't.
I get that all the time, but you're
Yeah.
good. I think it was because you were like, I'm gonna jump into the next topic, and we're talking about the changes of what it was like, COVID and then
Yeah.
the strikes.
Yeah, I think so. But then I was like, oh, maybe I think I may have jumped off the topic of Prodigal Son way too quickly.
No,
Um,
no, not at all. I just was curious also maybe what it's like because you had doubled bunch of people before. So doubling itself wasn't like necessarily new, but just what it's like to double like the I don't know if he was the number one on the call sheet or not
Sure. He's
person.
one of, yeah. Actually, yeah, you know what? I think Prodigal Son was definitely one of my favorite shows to work on because now I'm consistently going back to the same crew, like the same creatives. And now I'm actually involved in this process. I'm not the guy who shows up for a day or two, falls down, and goes away.
Yeah.
I'm more integrated into this. And it was interesting the value I found I was able to provide to the show because I'm very like, I'm not just hypercritical of the actor Tom's movements or anything like that, but like I'm deeply ingrained into the psyche of his character as well. Because when I double him and I do an action, I'm dictating what his character does. And I'm very cognizant of that. And there's been many times where like Tom will come in after and he'll be like, well, and then I'm doing this. Well, what am I doing with my hands then? He's like, oh, well, Josh did this. He's, oh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, good. Thanks, Josh. And I'm like, thank God, like I'm able to contribute to his character because like he is 95% of the character. I'm the other 5% that's just trying to make him look a little cool or just make sure he doesn't get hurt or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's nice to provide and to feel useful.
Yeah, because like you come in and then you're like, all right, what are we doing today? You know when you come in, and he knows when you come in, it's gonna be an action day when I come
Yeah, yeah, totally, right? Uh,
but even seeing that, like you coming out of the window and then they still showed him from the top, like falling
uh,
down. So I always find that interesting than to see, because it makes it look like maybe he did some of it himself. But when you see it in the sun, I know nobody can ever reveal the magic probably in it. But like, did you kind of still do all of that together on the day? Like you did all of that and they still had to then record his like falling.
Yeah, and like he didn't even fall. They did it on a green screen and
That's
just
what I figured.
yeah, and they just pulled them back on a wire and like very safe, a pendulum swing or whatever, you know. Um, but for my shit, yeah, no, we just ready, action. You know?
Oh my God. Like so cool. Oh
Uh,
man. So when you were then working on that, were you hireable for other stuff, or are you kind of blocked off because that's like your project right now? How does that work when you're on a show, the double for the main person?
for the first season, it worked out well because you know I work a day, maybe 2 days a week or something, and I'm accessible, but I'm also exposed to a lot of other people who are also coming on the show, and like it helps you get work
Mm,
begots work. But the second season sucked because it was COVID time, and now we're all isolated, and I'm like, weird. I'm 1X on a show, and it is not doing anything for me beyond my immediate job. I cannot get additional employment. I'm not really meeting other people. Like it feels
oh, you're
weird
probably
to
not allowed to, right? Because you could
yeah,
get COVID somewhere else and then not
yeah.
do the. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, the
Man.
quarantine shit,
Yeah,
right?
that bubble
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. It's like it's weird. I felt like I hit the apex of my career at the time, and it went phew, because of the extraordinary circumstances of the world.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know
So
what.
during the strike, so when that kind of ended, did it still take a while for you and like your friends and Stunts for that to pick up? Did you notice that Stunt kind of was able to pick right back up when the strike was over?
No, gosh, no. The strike that we had recently. No, it slowly ramped up.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but this was a time when I had to take pause and be like, things are changing. There's less demand. Competition is real. And I now have to very vigorously apply myself and find different ways to make this work. And that uncomfortable challenge brought a little change on my process. And I had a really great and successful year. Very thankful for it. But damn, what was the question again?
no, no, like of the strike, being able to get back to work, which you did go right into what it's like now. So at first you say
Right.
it was really slow and you had to make some changes, but now I'm curious, did that
Right.
mean you had to pick up different skill sets or get better at certain things to be more competitive, or what did that look like for you to be able to
Uh,
book work in a market that doesn't have as much demand?
yeah, yeah. I think that like I think a lot of people are relying on social media,
Huh.
not overtly, completely to get work, but this idea that you should be marketing and advertising yourself, and hopefully somebody who needs you will notice. Like, I think that's the conditioning that a lot of the social media gives a lot of people,
Huh.
and I defaulted differently to like, this is a personal business, and I do much better with interpersonal
Me
relationships.
too. Yeah.
So like instead it's just like now I'm just making sure I get really personable and really knowledgeable. Like it used to be like, you know, you get your stunt contact or whatever, you go through it, you send out your emails, your resumes, and like I did my part. And like it's not for me, it's not like that
That
anymore
was going to
now.
be my next question. So I'm glad you went on it on your own. I was like, so what about like using stunt content? Because now it sounds like, I mean, when you go on there, it's a great tool, but there isn't a lot on there. So you can imagine whenever that daily comes in and you're like, oh, finally a job. And then like 1,000 people are sending
Yeah.
us.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like that information's outdated or it's wrong or you know what I mean? Like the coordinator is incorrect and like the information is still best word of mouth, talking to people and actually figuring out firsthand what's going on because that stun contact or whatever, that's all really regurgitated information after several circles of people have ran through it and now it's been
Um,
organized and presented. You know, like you're getting last up, basically. Um, but now instead, I do a lot more research to know what's currently going on, whether it's internet researching or word of mouth, and I will try to actually understand the show and their needs. What genre is it? What budget do they have? Because if they're a little drama that's doing that has a $500,000 budget out in Alaska, I, there's no place for me on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time with this. But if it's an action, they're doing $5 million an episode, and they're in my state. Shit, yeah, that's the important one. Let me understand what are their needs. What are the? Oh, it's a western. Okay, I need to have this kind of look ready to go.
And you do have quite a bit of that on your resume. You can see, yeah.
Yeah, you have to market yourself visually in a wide variety of ways. But like whatever it's getting really specific with
Everything I
every.
like is always in Canada. I'm like, and then I do the research. It's like Canada, Canada. I was like, can
Well,
just something not be in Canada that I like?
no, the answer is no. You never get to work on what you like usually.
I guess I can see that, even though I'm like really hoping for that Lioness doesn't get canceled and keeps going, because I like love that show, and I ran into a bunch of people that did stunts on that already, and
Yeah.
then I was like, you could be. I was like, I could be on it. Wink, wink. I could be.
Uh-huh. Did you ever hit up the coordinator?
I haven't met that one, but I think that also kind of films outside, so you need like a permit. I'm pretty sure that one filmed somewhere outside too, but the people were coming in from LA. So all the people I knew that were on there were from LA. So they
Yeah.
were bringing people in. So sometimes you do seem to get that they bring their crew. Like I live in Florida, and I think it was it for the new Bad Boys? They brought all their people from LA and they didn't go Florida. And then sometimes in New York, they'll get some of them will be local hire stuff, and some of it they'll bring. So it's super tricky, especially where I live. It's so tricky because you would think Atlanta would be so accessible because it's so close, but Atlanta just likes Atlanta. They don't like anything, not anywhere, even like it seems like in the state of Georgia, it has to be Atlanta. So I'm more likely to do something in New York than I'd ever be to do something in Atlanta.
Nice. I've like worked maybe twice in Atlanta. That I've never felt like the work environment is super welcoming, despite how nice some people may be out there.
Yeah,
So
even for acting, it's like for all of it. It seems like Atlanta is their own world. So that's why that is never like even on my radar. I was like, if I can, but like what you said and a lot of other people, sometimes you need to be able to be there like tomorrow or dates change. So they won't consider you, especially West Coast all the way over there. But that, and then I've been trying to make a lot of connections in New York because I know I like can be there. Like flights go really quick. It's like what, 2 hours or something. It's really not that bad
yeah.
to do that.
Dude, one time I got a call from the agents or casting directors of Marvel, and they were like, "Josh, we're looking for a hard of hearing because deaf. I don't hear in one ear, but they're like, we're looking for a hard of hearing breakdancer that's going to be a character in the movie, and he has a fight with every like main cast in the film." And I was like, "Oh, you guys want to make me a character?" They're like,
so specific.
Yeah. Very, very specific. But I was in Utah working on a movie where like it was mostly dead zones, and I was out there for a couple of weeks, and they're like, "Can you come in to a meeting tomorrow in Atlanta and meet our executive producers?" And like after I told them my schedule, they're just like, "All right, Josh, we talked about it. We're gonna move in a different direction. Never mind." And I was like, "Fuck, dude. Sorry, I wasn't available to be in a different state tomorrow."
Especially in a world where like some of it seems so unnecessary. You can do so many things virtually. So especially something like that, can you come in to like talk to someone? I mean, even if you were to show off virtually like what you can do, that's still something, because there's such a difference too. Yeah, you can do self-tapes, and then there's virtual, and then there's being there. And I feel like virtual is a good thing, unless internet connections like really worrisome when you do virtual stuff. But man. Right. So what did you, I mean, I don't know if I can ask that question, but I'll ask and then you say if you can answer. But what, like, did you just get back in town from working on something? I mean, I guess you could just say whether or not you've gotten in from something, but where did you just come back for the holidays? Are you currently working on something?
This month was like a lot to me. I went to New Mexico twice, then out to Pittsburgh, And then when I came back, I went directly to Houston to work on a commercial. And so like I've only been back for what's today? Sunday?
Sunday? Yeah, I think Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been back for like almost a week. In the meantime, I've been to like 2 or 3 different states this month. Uh,
So it's been crazy being gone, but now you've also been home. Okay, we had the holiday in between, but have you gotten stir crazy at being home a week after being gone, or have you, like, does it
it,
feel relaxing right now?
no, it doesn't feel relaxing. Like I'm not comfortable staying still because I've been moving around like a crazy person this entire year. And now that like it's holidays and you're supposed to hang out and relax, like no, my body's like, no, we're not. What's next? Seriously, stop playing games. What's next, dude? And like, it's just a lot of nervous energy, man.
So would you then just do you because okay, all of the things you said. So first of all, you are between two cities already. You like to make personal connections and stuff. So do you sometimes when you're like, all right, there's nothing going on here, just fly somewhere and just hustle, or what do you do when it's slow?
So like a different, you mean like, do I go back to New York or just other places?
Anywhere.
No, honestly, I keep myself between the two, and I've explored, like you said, let me go to Atlanta or New Orleans or LA or whatever, and like let me hang out, let me meet people, and like a lot of times those experiences can be rewarding, but I've found personally it's too exhausted on
Mm-mm.
me, and I'm like, no, I cannot base myself out of more than 2 places. That's already stressful enough for all the reasons we discussed. So I don't know. When it gets slow, I just do what we talked about earlier and like go on a slow, depressing spiral and try to find other stuff to do.
That's just part of the artist's personality. So it was interesting we were talking about, yeah, you're booked and busy, so then yeah, money comes in, and yeah, you can pay your bills, but then you also still are not 100% fulfilled. So the way there's like this wellness, or I don't know, balance, happiness circle, whatever they call it. And it's so interesting because you could have like, well, financial looks great, like at home, I'm healthy and all of these things. I have hobbies, but then you're like, family, friendship, relationship is all like kind of here. So you're
Yeah.
still not balanced. So
Yeah.
you're still trying to juggle that in some way.
Yeah.
Um, Hmm. So do you seek connection and contact when you have time, or does it usually then just kind of happen? Do you go out and meet people, or are you like on the apps?
I mean, of course, like you're gonna check back into like whatever your cornerstone supportive structures are, whether that's family, friends, or whatever. So, like, yeah, you come back, you will default to 2 or 3 or whatever that you need. But in terms of like trying to go out and meet people, I like we established, I like to meet through connection or a mutual interest, and like it's like let's just say like I'm on online dating apps or something like that. The concept is so foreign to me to be like, I'm interested in a relationship and you're interested in a relationship and this is our common ground. I'm like, that's fucking weird to me. I would
Yeah.
prefer us to like, let's connect through dancing or some sort of shared interest, and then let's go from there. Like, let's not us not wanting to be lonely be our common bonding
Yeah.
ground, you know?
Yeah, so important. I love it. That's why, like, I have a bunch of guy friends. I like a lot of girls, especially girls that are always in fields that are very male dominated. I'm always like, with like my single guy friends is like, let me see what you got on your app. Okay, so what are your top three? Okay, so why do you like her? And I'm like going there. It's like, you should totally write her then. What are you waiting for?
uh, dating is so weird now, dude.
It's so weird. I really don't like, I hope I really don't have to go back at any time, because even I did meet my boyfriend on an app, and it's so bad. Like, okay, I'm exposing myself of how crazy when it comes to not being in a relationship, in the sense I am that I like to be in a connection. Like, I would say I'm like a Mustang. Like, I need my freedom, and you can't put like a
Yeah.
harness, reins, or anything on. I need to be able to do me, but I love to be in a relationship, have a partner, somebody to connect, like my pull, my grounding thing. So I'm like,
Yeah.
when I'm not in a relationship, I'm like, all right, let's go find this person. Like, so I go
Mm.
to the apps, and then the apps will be like, there are no more singles in your area. I'm like, nope, 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 nope,
Yeah.
nope, no more.
Yeah.
Because I have like my things are so strict. I'm not gonna budge on the things that I like want and need. You're
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's very specific, right? And
Yeah.
like I just like have to default to this idea that I'm like, me hopefully the person I need in my life is just also not interested in being on apps, and I can find them in the real world where it's a little
But it's
scarier.
weird to talk to people. Well, because first of all, okay, a lot of people are not married. So if you see me on the street and you were to talk to me, it's super like awkward because you don't know. Okay, so I just got back from LA, and I hadn't had this experience in a long time, but I was just super excited to be out. I really needed this. I needed to be out. I was excited all year because every year for around Christmas, I go to this gala and then I spend a few days. So I guess I'm extra friendly.
Yeah.
So more people thought I was probably flirting with them, which I was not. And then
Being
you get in
social, sure.
this like weird space and you're like, oh, and that and then I'm like, oh, it sucks because like you don't have a ring, so then you don't know. So I feel the same. Like if I want to talk to a guy, and nobody wants to be rejected either. So if you're a
Yeah.
decent, good-looking person, a lot of times they won't take a chance because they don't want to be rejected. So now, who makes the first move dance? Are you even going to make eye contact with somebody? It's so
Yeah.
not how it used to. Back in the day, you would go to the club and just shoot your shot. That
Yeah.
doesn't
Right.
exist anymore.
Yeah, because we've been encouraged to have so many more invisible barriers and like different forms of communication that are way less invasive. And like we're also being taught, maybe is the right way to put it, to be more empathetic to the idea of consent and does this person even want to talk to you? And like you think about that, you're like, ah, that person's attractive. I'd like to. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're open to talking. Maybe their dog just died this morning or something. I better not. You know.
Yeah,
You
and it is
don't know
because
who's
even
actually
though,
open.
like my face too, if I'm like, oh my God, back in the day, I would get this all the time. You should smile more. But if I'm actually in thought, I have a very serious face. I have a very resting bitch face too. So I
Yeah.
look serious in thought. So people are like intimidated sometimes. But if I smile, I look very ditzy. And then it looks like,
Right.
oh, I could probably just roofie her or something. You know, there is no in
Hold up. What?
between. I thought about this because this just happened to somebody I knew, but the person next to her on the table saw the person put the roofie in the drink and thankfully said something and called the police. Because a lot of people will mind their own business and not say anything.
That's fucked.
So people still unfortunately do that. So watch your drinks. New
Uh,
Year's is coming up.
I've
Oh
been.
God, I don't know. I was just gonna say, oh my God, I was just gonna say, is that a thing for guys? You
Yeah.
by a
Like
girl?
I don't know. I went out with a girl. Like we were in New York. I was staying at her apartment or something whenever I was in between places, and like I finished my job. We went out to get a drink, and it wasn't crazy. Like we went to the bar, had one drink straight from the bartender. We drank it. Like cool. We're tired. Let's go crash. And we got back to her fucking apartment, and we both and 15 hours later, we both sat up and looked at each other at the exact same time. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're like, what the fuck just happened? So, like, my best guess is that they wanted her because she's this attractive girl and they wanted to get rid of me. But again, our drinks came directly from the bartender. We never left them. We never looked away from them. We're like, it was just some sort of fucking weird inside job. Uh,
Wow.
but yeah, so like it sucks to be like, yeah, I've been roofied once. I don't think they even wanted me. I think they just wanted me out of the way. Um,
Maybe they did also want you. You don't know.
you know, I'm flattered and
Uh,
just disgusted at the same time.
100% for anybody having to resort to that to me is just it's just so disgusting. But let's leave
Yeah,
it at that. But let's just say it's before
but
New Year's. Everybody watch your drinks.
watch your drinks, y'all. Have your friends. Have your friends. The ones that know
100%.
you. When they know you're doing weird, wild shit, and they're like, they shouldn't be that drunk. Have those friends around.
Yep, yep, the ones that care. So
Yeah.
to oh no, okay, I was gonna say to wrap this up, but before I wrap this up into what you do for training, especially in the off times, I'm gonna let you marinate with that in the back. I forgot, I have to ask you, especially because you live in two places,
Uh,
what's in your stunt bag? And does that mean you have one in Texas and one in New York, or do you take it with you?
I have two stunt bags now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I used to be one. I got tired of following it around, so I got a second one. But what's in my stunt bag is like mostly kind of basic, and I work in sets of twos. So I have like one soft elbow pads, and I have one pair of hard elbow pads. Soft knees, hard knees. The hips. I have two different sets of backs. Blah blah blah. And because I do a lot of doubling work, I will double those in my bag as well, so
Very
that I can
consistent
provide for the actor.
response.
Yeah, and then like I have some weirder stuff for like foam inserts. I have like a little ankle bone protecting pad. Like I have like
Like a
weird
little
quirky things.
small, like patchy thing.
Like a,
Pat.
a silver dollar that
Huh.
goes on your
Like
ankle
those
bone.
wart things that you.
Okay, yeah. But like these are for soccer players, to protect their ankle bones. And like we're doing a stair fall on escalators without any ankle protection. And we got these, and we're like, oh, thank God we have these, because that would have fucking chewed
A
our ankles
stair
alive.
fall on an escalator. That does sound very painful. Oh,
Yeah. Well, we had to fall three times on for one shot because it was Walking Dead zombie stuff where
oh.
we get on the escalator and we fall down because we're zombies. And then we get up and they stop the escalator and we fall down. And then we get up and then they shoot us and we fall down again. And so it's just like, all right, again, 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 again. And we're just like, oh my God, falling on escalators is awful.
That sounds super awful because it also feels like it's tighter than like a regular staircase and moving. Or is it when they shoot it not moving? Whoa, that
It
sounds
moved.
really scary, actually.
Yeah, it moved. And
Oh.
then when it stopped it would stop mechanically and we would fall.
Did you practice? Did you get to practice for that one?
I mean, not really, no.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, how do you practice for that, anyways? Really,
Yeah, I
and
didn't
it's
know if they like give you a shot. Okay, like this is the location. You get to rehearse this because it's kind of an odd
oh,
thing.
I'm sure we had a rehearsal, but like
Yeah.
when things just suck, stair falls, car hits, whatever, like there's only so much like rehearsal or forethought you
Oh
can
yeah,
put
that's why
in.
like stairfall. Yeah, and I still feel like I usually roll down kind of all the similar ways, but there's some where I'm like, man, I can't even imagine, especially those like with the head, because usually when you go, you can protect it, but if you do fall in a way where yeah, you get shot, and then something so narrow as a escalator in my mind. Okay, what? This was a Walking Dead episode. I need to see this episode. Like
Yeah,
maybe you can
Fear the
tell me which
Walking.
one it was.
I don't know which one for. I don't even know what
I'm gonna
season.
ask ChatGPT later which
Do it.
episode
We
do
filmed it
they
at
hold that?
the mall, I think. Also, by the way, falling as a zombie is awful because zombies don't protect themselves when they fall. They just, right? They ragdoll down to the ground. That's what makes escalators so much worse when you're a zombie.
So did you have a pad to like make sure that when you fell, like your head or
No, we just had our body pads on, and like you do your best to protect yourself in a way that looks like you're not protecting yourself.
man? But I guess
Yeah.
that goes right into that question then. Like, how do you, keep up your skills? So you were a dancer at first when
Yeah.
you got into stunts. So what were the things that you then focused on training? And was that like in Texas then? And what do you train now? Sounds super.
Um, yeah, so dancing gave me a great on ramp of movement, choreography, emotional intent behind movements. But after, like, when I got on Spider Man and officially started doing it full time, I kind of jumped into everything. I started doing rigorous martial arts training, stunt driving training, was learning how to rig, all that type of stuff. And now I feel like I'm just trying to maintain a lot of what I have and not forget or lose it, whether it's a physical skill set like gymnastics or a mental capacity like rigging. Um,
Yeah, especially
yeah,
rigging. Like you got to do it to know, especially with some of the knots, the way everything goes and like wait that yeah you definitely got to do it, but gymnastics I feel like even if you kind of know how something goes, you need to say flexible, mobile, do it
yeah,
right, but actually also do it right, but then look ugly doing it. So do you
yeah.
just go to the gym, like a trampoline park, or do you actually go and take lessons or classes?
I would go to an open gymnastics gym. You can take the equipment and structure it and place it however you do need. Um, and the shit that we do is so awkward because to throw a punch correctly on camera, you need to know how to throw a punch for real. And now you need to know how to change that punch to make it visually look cooler and stronger. So, like, we're really in our own world of fabricating a performance, and like, you can only really do that with other like minded people. So,
I was
like,
gonna say
really,
you can't do that one by yourself. That's really
yeah,
the one that sucks. You like need a person to like how does it land and the direction and
yeah.
catching it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have a lot of people who do like solo falls and they'll get really creative with it and it'll look really cool. But how often does our job involve an isolated fall? It's not super common. It's working with other people and the timing and communication throughout figuring this shit out. It's just getting together with other people and like trying to come up with creative exercise, I think.
So do you have where you live in the Austin area places like jam gyms kind of or stunt gyms or like driving schools? Like do you have anything there or do you usually travel for training?
Yeah, I usually travel for training. Like we have a very, very small community out here. That's I don't want to say inactive, but most people don't do it for a living out
Yeah.
in this area, so they cannot train like a full-time professional. They don't have the weekdays off, so it's strained and limited. And like, yeah, I'll have to go to LA or New York or something if I actually want to get together with people and train and legit put in some effort or time into something.
Do you have a class that you're planning to take for 2026?
No, not actively right now, but I am looking at tentatively doing a rigging intensive out in South Louisiana at a place called Roco
Hmm.
Rescue. Um,
Cool. So this
yeah,
is like fire department then, or is it just called that, but it's a stunt team that does it?
it's not a stunt team. It's they do industrial rescue rigging,
Mm.
typically because so they're in South Louisiana. They're near Houston and all these oil refineries. So they normally teach individuals who represent these different companies you know, extraction techniques and stuff like that, So whatever, it's catered towards the industrials, but it's still really beneficial for a person like me to come in and know how do they do things because they do things extremely overkill, extremely safe. In stunt rigging, we're kind of like we're not making shit up, but we're like that'll be fine. Like we have to alter this for this visual effect, and it's not as safe, but like that's designed for thousands of pounds. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like we have to break some fucking rules sometimes and use the equipment how it is not designed.
That
So it's
totally
easier.
makes sense. Yeah.
It's easier to reverse engineer how something should work instead of just being like ah, you know.
100%. I just started taking OSHA 10 course and I'm almost through. It
Oh yeah,
doesn't just take freaking 10 hours, even
it
though it
does not.
says a minimum. It
It's a
does
lot.
not take
Yeah, it's like
10
30
hours.
hours. Right?
It
Yeah.
takes, yeah, they have the 10 and the 30, but to take the 10 hours takes still about at least 20 hours to get through. It's just 10 hours kind of material, even though with the minimum that you go, because you still got to take notes, they have the little activities in the test. But just going through, I find it so interesting because even though there's a bunch of like construction stuff and stuff I don't need to know, but it is super interesting when they're like, the ladder has to be so and so many feet there and it has to extend over this much to be safe. And then there's different kinds of ladders ladders and
Yeah.
also openings. But I started taking it because I was like, well, you know, be versatile. Like I'd love to do safety work on set too. And
Yeah.
again, being in another position, then knowing, okay, if I can do that, I also feel safe then performing it. So it's cool that to hear that, even though that's not like a stunt rigging, what you're saying is industrial, but this applies. So I'm taking this, and then it's kind of like a cert that you have, and then you can
Yeah.
apply it.
Yeah.
It's so
Well,
cool.
I mean, shit, dude, especially when it comes to rigging, where like you are your last line of defense. You are the person who says yes or no to it. And I've looked at rigging before and been like, I would like to change this. I don't, this is my belief on this, and I would like to make this change. You know, not in an ugly, confrontational, loud, dramatic way, but like, this is my choice, you know,
Yeah.
and you need to have that confident opinion. And when I do disagree with something, I'm glad that I know I disagree. You know, I don't
Yeah,
look at it.
and you know why. So usually at
Yeah,
the Sun Gym I go to, whenever we do wire work, we also take turns helping with the rigging too, so
yeah,
that we understand it and where that needs to be attached and how the knots need to be, what it's like, and then also talking other people through it so that we can really understand it. And I find that really, really helpful. Like I said, if for
yeah.
anything to know when I feel safe, safe. If I'm like, oh, I trust you, and then you're like, wait, this D ring should be this way.
That's supposed to be attached. Let me just. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
uh, oh man. Well, we got into a whole span of things. So talking about what it's like when it's slow, when it's busy, how that really causes a strain on our personal life too. Like we want to make money and do the things we want to do, but it's also difficult to maintain a personal life. Not living full time in one of the major markets, really splitting your time between, and then making smart choices, not to split too many. So that was really interesting that you said that. You're like, hey, you got to make your choice, which market, and then really hone it in there with your connections, because out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
It's a really good reminder because it does feel like that sometimes. And then also getting the inside scoop, you know, what is it like to be on a show like Prodigal Son, to, you know,
Mhm.
be the main guy's guy, you know, to do all the cool stuff.
Yeah. That was an amazing recap. Dude. This is impressive. And I'm over here like I can't even remember what I had for breakfast.
Well, I'm under pressure. I got to remember, and I have a little bit of a cheat sheet. And if you do it often enough, you will start remembering more, because my working memory definitely isn't as great either. But because
Ah,
I'm doing all of it, I actually have gotten better.
just like a muscle that gets stronger.
It is a muscle.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
but it was really, really, really nice having you on, seeing it for everything from your POV, your location, and what you do. And I hope we get to see each other somewhere again, if it's a class or a set or anywhere. And thank you for being on.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me on and hearing some of my things, and hope it was a good time.
It was a good time. See y'all on the next one.
All right.